Episode 163 Seoul Land DouLuo DaLu Original Novel. Chapter 196. Rank 99 Title DouLuo. TL by Bagelson, OWL404. Chen Xin's gaze swept over everybody. Spirit power surpassing rank 95, can be regarded as a watershed for title DouLuos. Between rank 91 to 95, even though the gaps of spirit power are not little, they can still be made up for by relying on the quality of spirit bones and spirit abilities. However, if one of two title DouLuo at war has surpassed rank 95, then the situation will change. Rank 96 title DouLuo's spirit power is stronger than rank 95 title DouLuo by 20%. Grandmaster's eyes flashed, light of excitement and fervency suddenly appearing. Having studied spirits for a lifetime, experience from top-level powers among spirit masters such as Sword DouLuo couldn't be more important. However, when rank 96 spirit power is stronger than rank 95 by 20%, that cannot be made up by the quality of spirit bones or normal spirit abilities. Unless the two participants' spirit abilities have essential gaps, rank 96 title DouLuo should totally overwhelm title DouLuos who are below rank 95. Then, how about the gap between rank 97 title DouLuo and rank 96 title DouLuo? Sword DouLuo Chen Xin looked at Ning Fengzi, who nodded to him. Rank 97 title DouLuo's spirit power is stronger than rank 96 title DouLuo by another 20%. Hearing this, even the powers present couldn't help drawing a breath. Bone DouLuo forced a smile. Therefore, for all these years, I've always been suppressed by this fellow. I've reached rank 95 for 10 years, but still made no progress at all. Looking at his partner, there was a thread of slight smile appearing on Chen Xin's face. After rank 95, every improvement of a rank won't be merely accumulation of spirit power, but comprehension as well. Moreover, since everyone has a different spirit from others, what they should comprehend will also be different. No one can provide experience to help others improve. Your spirit power accumulation is already enough, just lacking the last point of sudden enlightenment. Gurong gave a sigh. 99% hard work plus 1% talent equals success. Still, what's more important, is the 1%. In terms of comprehension, I'm inferior to you. Chen Xin said, because you are not as single-minded as me. Tang San was listening quietly aside, and this conversation between powers would bring his cultivation great benefits in the future. Grandmaster was reflecting and said, so that is to say, a rank 97 title DouLuo is stronger than a rank 95 title DouLuo to an extent of about 50%. And according to the contrast of strength, a rank 97 title DouLuo can cope with two rank 95 title DouLuos simultaneously. A thread of approving light appeared in Chen Xin's eyes. What he was expressing was exactly this idea. In spite of the mutual restriction of spirits and spirit abilities, considering spirit power exclusively, it is true. Over rank 95, gaps of a rank will be the same as the gap between heaven and earth. The gap between rank 97 and rank 98 of the spirit power has originally reached 30%, while the gap between 98 and 99 even reaches the 40%. In other words, a rank 99 title DouLuo can cope with at least 4 title DouLuos below rank 95. Grandmaster nodded, totally immersed in calm reflection. On the basis of such calculations, then, the spirit power of a rank 99 title DouLuo is more than a rank 95 title DouLuo by 2.6 times. In terms of spirit power alone, this gap is similar to the gap between a spirit sage and a spirit king. Even 1 against 6 might not be a problem. But in practice, considering that all are title DouLuo and the possibility of possessing 9 spirit abilities which may restrict each other, a rank 99 title DouLuo can merely cope with 4 title DouLuo below rank 95 simultaneously. Ning Fengzi smiled. Grandmaster deserves his name. Therefore, among powers of the title DouLuo level, there are about 20 title DouLuos known while the numbers of those who are hiding in the mountains or wilderness are unknown. First-rate innate talent plus postnatal hard work, will have the chance to reach the power of the title DouLuo level as long as one is alive. However, in order to reach over rank 95, only with top talent, or by being uniquely gifted can one make it. Uncle Chen Xin said sudden comprehension is the most important. In the young generation, I have only seen the Shrek 7 Devils and Golden Generation of Spirit Hall possess such talent. If that Jianrongxi really has the Seraphim spirit, then she also possesses such talent. Suddenly, Tang San opened his mouth. Senior Chen Xin. Then what is the gap between rank 99 and 100? Chen Xin's sight fell on Tang San, meeting his clear blue eyes, I don't know. Maybe there had been such legendary power in the Spirit Master world, but they have never left behind their experiences. Saying that, a trace of yearning and thirst appeared in his calm eyes. My father, cultivated to title DouLuo at the age of 68, and then used 10 years to reach rank 95. Then after another 10 years, he reached rank 96, when he was already 88 years old. It was not until the age of 100 years that he broke through rank 97. In that year, he met the last opponent of his lifetime, and regretfully lost. The gaps after rank 95 I said before was exactly brought to me by my father. He talked to me for an hour, then suddenly passed away. Before he died, he told me his opponent was a rank 99 title DouLuo, who in his generation was known as the power with the best talent. After that rank 99 title DouLuo defeated my father was told that he had already been trying hard for 30 years. This 99th rank title DouLuo predicted that the gap in spirit power between 100th and 99th rank would surpass 100%. Furthermore, that there is a possibility of a 10th spirit ring. This was trading life for information. Everyone turned completely silent. Among the spirit masters present, besides Grand Master, even the weakest, the Shrek 7 devils, were still around the 60th rank. As a spirit master, who didn't want to have the chance to climb to the peak someday? Through Sword DouLuo's words, they learned how difficult it was. That year, I was 72, I had already reached the 92nd rank. Since then, 24 years have passed, now I'm 96 years old. If the title DouLuo who defeated my father is still alive, I don't know whether he's broken through the final bottleneck. Grand Master said, the lifespan of ordinary people is roughly 60 to 80 years. If a spirit master has no accidents, it's not difficult to live to 100. Especially high-level spirit masters. Once at the title DouLuo level, extending your life for another 20 years isn't a problem. That spirit master is 99th ranked, it's very possible he's still alive. Chen Xin sighed, saying, unfortunately, even if he's still alive, I'll never have the chance to challenge him in my lifetime. Ning Rongrong somewhat baffled said, Sword Grandpa, don't you hate that person? Chen Xin shook his head, saying, my father passed away with a smile on his face. I once hated him, but after truly surpassing the 95th rank, I understand. Once finally at this level, to be able to battle an opponent even stronger than yourself is the greatest fortune. Tang San said, Senior Chen Xin. If I'm not mistaken, even though you've lost an arm, your level has still risen somewhat. Why wouldn't you have a chance? Chen Xin's eyes suddenly erupted with pure light, and everyone present shivered. He looked deeply at Tang San, good. Good. Really a heroic youth. However, what I said wasn't false. With my arm lost, even if I gain some comprehension, my vitality is already injured, and it'll be difficult to advance at all in the future. I will never be able to surpass my father. Everyone present were intelligent people, and they couldn't help being shocked by the implication of what Chen Xin told Tang San. This Sword DouLuo had actually made another breakthrough, reaching a frightening 97th rank. A feverish look flashed through Tang San's eyes. Senior Chen Xin, do you know where that person is? Chen Xin's gaze swept across everyone. In those days, when my father challenged him, he was the chief priest of Spirit Hall's Elder Palace, the previous master of Elder Palace, the pride of a generation in Spirit Hall, a spiritual leader in the true sense. When Bibi Dong claimed her position, if not for his support, with Bibi Dong still so far from the title DouLuo level, how could she convince the people? The air seemed to turn thick. Each person's pupils seemed to contract. Even Ning Fengzi, who learned about this long ago, unconsciously had a serious expression. Tang San now knew that within Spirit Hall that he viewed as his greatest enemy, there actually still hid such opponents. That was after all a formidable existence that had ruled the Spirit Master world for 1,000 years. Just at this moment, the door opened, an intense medicinal fragrance spreading out from inside, drawing everyone's attention. DouGubo was first to leave the room. He seemed somewhat exhausted, but seeing everyone's hopeful gazes, he slowly nodded. Yang Wudi also left the room after DouGubo, his face extremely pale. He had previously fought a great battle, then again spent all his strength to treat poison for several hours. Even this medicine hall master was extremely exhausted. He said to Tang San, Sect Master, I'd like to exchange a few words. Tang San inwardly smiled wryly. Even if you want to speak to me alone, then at least find a good chance. Now in front of Ning Fengzi, how could he listen to the news alone? Elder Yang, there are no outsiders here, if there's something to say, then say it. Yang Wudi looked slightly distracted, then became aware that his choice of location wasn't the best. But he still nodded, saying, I've already helped Emperor Shuiye to thoroughly dispel the poison. However, because he was poisoned for too long, his organs have suffered very serious damage. I've used some supporting medicines, but it can only help him live for another 2 to 5 years. Ning Fengzi frowned, sighing lightly, it's good you could save his life. 2 to 5 years. AI. It seems the empire will have to look for a new successor. Does His Majesty know? Yang Wudi shook his head, I haven't told him. He's already sleeping now. With the support of my medicine, he should be like a normal person by tomorrow, at most a bit weak. Even though Ning Fengzi was inwardly anxious, being worried right now was useless. Without Emperor Shuiye, they were basically unable to counter-attack the Imperial Palace. Right now there was no need to fear the situation changing. After all, there were so many spirit masters gathered here. Unless Jian Rongxiu could transfer 10,000 spirit masters within a day, there was no need to worry about the defenses here. And 10,000 spirit masters was an enormous number, the imperial ministers were no idiots. To whom the deer would fall was still in the air. Heaven Do Empire wasn't a spirit master sect, it had a deep foundation, the savings of a great empire absolutely couldn't be swallowed easily. This was also why Spirit Hall used a way like having Jian Rongxiu pose as Shui King He, rather than a forceful attack. Tang San said, Elder, old freak. It's been exhausting for you. First rest a while. Yang Wudi and Dugubo went to rest, and Ning Fengzi and Tang San both sank into quiet contemplation. If Emperor Shuiye could wake up right now to return to the Heaven Do Imperial Palace together with them, the situation would naturally be in their hands. But if time dragged out, Jian Rongxiu could cause all sorts of possible changes while posing as Crown Prince. Drawing a deep breath, Ning Fengzi suddenly raised his head, Sect Master Tang, come with me. While speaking, he walked towards the room where Emperor Shuiye was recovering from the poison. Tang San hurried to catch up. Ning Fengzi swung his hand in passing, closing the door behind them, directly reaching the side of the bed. The darkness on Emperor Shuiye's face had already faded away, in its place was a paleness like snow, his appearance withered and haggard. He looked like a candle dying in the wind, completely contrary to his vigorous appearance from a few years ago. Ning Fengzi looked at Tang San next to him, Little San. Tell me what we should do now. Either continue waiting, or think of another way. Now facing Tang San alone, he returned to his previous form of address. Tang San calmly said, Jian Rongxiu is intelligent. Presumably they will very quickly discover that something is wrong within the 7 treasure glazed tile school. When that time comes they will immediately attack. Jian Rongxiu will also exploit her status as Crown Prince the act. However, she will realize that it isn't too likely that Spirit Hall will transfer tens of thousands of spirit masters within a short time. Even in all of Spirit Hall, there are only several tens of thousands of spirit masters. They lost a lot in the previous attacks on your sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. This time they've sent 3,000 spirit masters as well as 4 title DouLuo, that's already a considerable investment. By my estimates, Jian Rongxiu shouldn't try to forcefully confront us. She has 2 choices, one is to think of a way to assassinate His Majesty, that way she still has a chance to take the throne. Only, to confront our 5,000 spirit masters for a real battle, either the fish dying or the net splitting, even if we win, it'll be a bitter victory. Ning Fengzi listened conscientiously to Tang San, then what's the other option? Tang San said, destruction. Causing as much destruction to Heaven Do City as possible. Especially the Imperial Palace. With Heaven Do Empire's vitality injured, Spirit Hall will have a chance in the future. After all, Spirit Hall now already holds an absolute dominance on the entire continent. Being defeated now doesn't mean there won't be opportunities later. If I was Jian Rongxiu, I would definitely pick this second option. And if you and the 7 treasure glazed tile school disciples didn't leave the Imperial Palace, I'm afraid you would face their most destructive attack. Ning Fengzi looked satisfied at Tang San, his face revealing a trace of a smile, Little San. After Rong inherits the 7 treasure glazed tile school, you have to help her a lot. Tang San nodded, I've always regarded Rong as a little sister. Even more when Oscar is by her side. Little Ao isn't any less wise than I am. With Rong's 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda, the 7 treasure glazed tile school will be bound to become the 9 treasure glazed tile school in her hands in the future. Ning Fengzi smiled, if that day really comes, it will be thanks to you. Fine. Little San, go outside. I want to accompany His Majesty alone. Tang San stared blankly a moment, his gaze at Ning Fengzi suddenly turning strange. Ning Fengzi helplessly shook his head, silly kid. Sometimes, being too clever isn't a good thing. Go. There was something in Tang San's eyes as he looked at the unwavering light in Ning Fengzi's gaze. Finally turning to leave, he left with a somewhat difficult pace. After an hour, the door opened once again. Ning Fengzi informed everyone that Emperor Shuiye was already awake, and had passed down a decree to summon the Heaven Do City Guard commander here. Ning Fengzi sent DouLuo personally. Emperor Shuiye currently had nothing on hand, and naturally couldn't write any edicts. Therefore, this method for inviting was a bit simple and direct. Another hour passed, and after Emperor Shuiye had seen the city guard commanders, he immediately gave a series of orders, and the atmosphere within Heaven Do City abruptly grew tense. Now, Emperor Shuiye had also called in the commander of the 2000 Spirit Masters training at Shrek Academy. So far, the more than 7,000 Spirit Masters within Shrek Academy were all gathered together. Among Shrek Academy and the 4 Element Academies, less than 100 teachers could be mobilized to fight. As for the 2,000 students, all the powers unanimously agreed not to let them participate in the coming operation. These young Spirit Masters were all the future of the Spirit Master world, and also the future of Heaven Do Empire. They couldn't be lost. After DouLuo who Ning Fengzi had sent to order the city guard commanders to take charge of the general situation returned, he brought everyone into the room to pay their respects to Emperor Shuiye. Emperor Shuiye was by now already sitting up. Not only was the paleness Tang San saw before gone, his complexion was even rosy, like a robust man in his prime. Everyone simultaneously bowed in salute. With their status in the Spirit Master world, kowtowing was impossible. Emperor Shuiye's eyes revealed a trace of disappointment. I thank you all for coming to my aid. Now isn't the time to speak. Once I've flattened the rebellion, I'll thank you one by one. Schoolmaster Ning, we'll set out. Ning Fengzi nodded, stepping forward to help Emperor Shuiye off the bed, leaving the room without paying attention to everyone's somewhat vacant stares. The Tang sect, the 7 treasure glazed tile school, the imperial family, 3 factions of Spirit Masters were already prepared. An immense Spirit Master force of more than 5,000 majestically left the Shrek Academy, heading straight towards the Imperial Palace. By now the City Guard army was already dispatched, blockading Heaven Do City's 4 gates, and also sending 50,000 guards to surround the Imperial Palace. The City Defense Army was now standing opposite the guards of the Imperial Palace, neither side yielding, neither stepping aside. But the orders Emperor Shuiye gave was only to surround the Imperial Palace. Right now, with the Emperor appearing in person, everything would naturally resolve itself. At the same time, the 100 officials also arrived outside the Imperial Palace, having been notified by the city guards. The Imperial Guards didn't dare be neglectful, hastily opening the great gates to the palace, greeting Emperor Shuiye's return to the palace. Under the Emperor's series of commands, the guards cooperated with the 5,000 Spirit Masters he brought back to start searching the Imperial Palace, in order to capture Qianrongxiu. Tang San and Ning Fengzi had side by side reached the 7 treasure glazed tile school courtyard within the Imperial Palace, already scouting carefully for an hour. All kinds of signs had already made clear that Qianrongxiu and the 2,000 Spirit Masters she had brought into the palace were inside the 7 treasure glazed tile school's courtyard. Ning Fengzi's expression was very unsightly. In order to fool people, even though the ones he had left behind in the school were all 7 treasure glazed tile school outer sect disciples, there was still more than 100. No need to ask, these 100 Spirit Masters had certainly died tragically in enemy hands. Attack! Ning Fengzi shouted loudly, then soared towards the courtyard wall with Bone DouLuo and Sword DouLuo. The Golden Iron Triangle and the Tang sect force also charged simultaneously. Such powers charged forward, already completely surrounding the 7 treasure glazed tile school Spirit Masters and soaring up. Several hundred flying type Spirit Masters even flew directly towards the sky, especially the disciples of Tang sect's Speed Hall, who swiftly grasped the best positions to scout. However, all of this was useless. After everyone entered the 7 treasure glazed tile school, what they saw wasn't 2,000 enemies, but more than 2,000 corpses. The corpses of 2,000 Spirit Masters affiliated with the Heaven Do Imperial family, defending the Imperial Palace. Ning Fengzi staggered, regaining his balance with DouLuo's help. For a moment his eyes were red. Of these more than 2,000 corpses on the ground, besides the 107 treasure-glazed tile school outer sect disciples, the rest were imperial household spirit masters, the majority nurtured by him. It might even be called the core strength of the Heaven Dou Empire. In fact, the Heaven Dou imperial family only controlled less than 5,000 spirit masters. Having lost close to half like this, the gap in strength with Spirit Hall had undoubtedly grown even more immense. Carefully inspecting these corpses, it wasn't difficult to discover that the majority of these spirit masters were killed through a sneak attack. No need to ask, everyone could understand Jian Rongxiu's way of handling things. On the shadowed wall of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school, large letters were written in blood, "Tang San, you win this time. We will meet again." It was signed with a lifelike blood image of an angel, 6 bloody wings stretching out, as if a declaration of war towards Tang San. Had they really won? Tang San's expression was as cold as frost. In a strategical sense, this time they had ruined Jian Rongxiu's years of planning, and undoubtedly gained the victory. But, all they had wiped out was 1,000 Spirit Hall Spirit Master, while the Heaven Dou Empire had paid more than twice that. The gap in quantity of Spirit Masters kept opening wider. Having examined the circumstances within the sect, Sword DouLuo returned to Ning Fengzi's side. "School Master, they escaped the Imperial Palace through our tunnel." Ning Fengzi breathed a few mouthfuls of the blood-reeking air, clenching his teeth, "Clean up the scene." Against everyone's expectations, it was Emperor Shuiye who was calm. After learning about these circumstances, this monarch didn't show any expression, only ordering these dead spirit masters to be buried deeply, not even taking any action against the Heaven Dou City Spirit Temple. "Young master, your decision was correct. Only, I don't understand how they could restore Emperor Shuiye so quickly. Do you have a guess?" Snake Lance DouLuo Shilong said with a sigh. Jian Rongxiu had by now already recovered her original appearance, her slender body covered in light yellow robes, her complexion back to normal. "I didn't expect them to be able to return to the Imperial Palace so quickly either. I just planned for the worst case. I wouldn't gamble on being in an advantageous position." The still pale porcupine fish DouLuo, not yet recovered from his serious injuries, sighed from the side, "Young master. The events this time, how will we explain to the Supreme Pontiff after returning?" Jian Rongxiu shot him a glance, "Everything is on me. This battle has only just begun. If the enemies can't withstand a single blow, then what's the point?" A severe gaze flashed across her eyes. "Tang San, I will return to Spirit Hall and try to absorb the second piece of the angelic armament. When we meet next, I wonder if you can still escape my hand." Thinking of this, she couldn't help turning her head to gaze at Heaven Dou City. Having lived here for so many years, everything that should have been hers was lost. Even though she redeemed some losses in the end, injuring the Heaven Dou Empire, she was still defeated strategically. But if you were to investigate the responsibility for all this, it wouldn't just be on her. According to her original plan, she would have accepted the Heaven Dou throne by following the rules. Were it not for Bibi Dong insisting on shifting the plans ahead, how would she have aroused the poison within Emperor Shuiye's body so early? There was basically no way to expose her identity. Patience, resolve, these had always been Jian Rongxiu's greatest traits. 5 days later, Heaven Dou City had already regained its calm. The common people only felt that the atmosphere had been a bit tense in the city for the last few days, but this was now already restored to normal. But the higher echelons of the Heaven Dou Empire knew that the struggle between the Empire and Spirit Hall had now begun in a real sense. From these events onward, there would no longer be any chance for reconciliation between the two sides. All of Heaven Dou City was relaxed outside but tight inside. 7 treasure-glazed tile school master Ning Fengzi was finally pushed to the front of the stage by Emperor Shuiye, appointing him as Imperial Master of State. Together with Grand Master, they controlled all the spirit masters within the borders of the Empire. The 2,000 Imperial Household Spirit Masters that were originally training at Shrek Academy also returned to the Imperial Palace. Grand Master subsequently also entered the Imperial Palace, training the 7 treasure-glazed tile school disciples along with Ning Fengzi and these Imperial Household Spirit Masters. Heaven Dou Imperial Palace. Tang San brought Xiaowu to sit opposite Grand Master. This was Grand Master's residence within the Imperial Palace. "Little San, what are you planning next?" Grand Master asked. Tang San said, "The malignant tumor within the Heaven Dou Imperial family has already been excised. Emperor Shuiye has already expressed that he will support us developing the Tang sect with all his strength. The Tang sect can be considered having stepped onto the right track. The next stage is to mass-produce all kinds of hidden weapons. I'm preparing to first make a trip back to the Clear Sky School. Partly to report the circumstances on this side, and partly to send divine craftsman Lu Gao there, asking my uncle to help him forge a formidable hidden weapon. And then, Grandmaster looked at his beloved disciple, a gentle expression on his stiff face. Tang San said, through my battle with Jianrongxiu this time, I discovered a lot of places I'm lacking. Especially in attack power. Even if I have a lot of ways to attack, my power is still insufficient. When fighting an opponent on Jianrongxiu's level, I can see how lacking I am. I want to stay at the Clear Sky School to cultivate for a while. The Clear Sky Hammer is mainly about offense, so I'll take a look at whether I can learn some things to use with it. Otherwise, I won't have a bit of confidence when I face Jianrongxiu again. Grandmaster shook his head. A trip back to the Clear Sky School is necessary, but I won't approve of you staying there to cultivate. Tang San didn't ask why, because he absolutely trusted his teacher's decision. Grandmaster continued, the Clear Sky Hammer really is formidable. However, don't forget that to fully use the Clear Sky Hammer, to display its strength, first you must have spirit abilities that belong to the Clear Sky Hammer. You have twin spirits, and before your Blue-Silver Emperor has reached 9 rings, giving spirit rings to the Clear Sky Hammer will diminish its future potential. And without the spirit abilities from the spirit rings, the room for your growth will be extremely limited. At this point, Grandmaster was somewhat unable to continue. Teacher, do you have some proposal? I'll listen to you. Tang San said without the slightest hesitation. Grandmaster sighed, I do have a proposal. Only, I don't want to have you take chances. That is in the end too dangerous. Tang San's eyes brightened. He was now already 66th rank, and could clearly feel his cultivation speed constantly falling. Maintaining the kind of progress speed he had before was practically impossible. Nobody understood his current circumstances better than Grandmaster. Even if Grandmaster said it was dangerous, Tang San understood that this might be a shortcut to swiftly advance. Teacher, no matter what, defending myself still isn't a problem. Right now Spirit Hall's power is growing, and I feel more and more that my abilities are insufficient. There's also the angelic armament you mentioned as well as the priests of Spirit Hall's Elder Palace. If I don't increase my strength a bit earlier, how can we contend with Spirit Hall? Besides, you once taught me that the greater the pressure I face, the easier it is to arouse my potential. Comprehending the essence of battle is still faster than cultivating on my own. Grandmaster smiled somewhat helplessly, I knew you'd say that. Fine. Then I'll tell you. Even if your current spirit power is 66th rank, many of those ranks come from the spirit rings Yaowu gave you. To the extent that all your cultivation for a long time would be used to stabilize these spirit power ranks, and this will lead to your cultivation speed falling. Just cultivating painstakingly isn't much use to you. If you want to completely fuse with this spirit power as soon as possible, you will have to do it through constant battle. The best way is through the formidable danger of life and death crisis. Like this, not only will your fighting skills increase one step further, your spirit power advancement speed will also increase. I've carefully researched Oscar's condition in these past days. As a food system spirit master, his advancement speed in these 5 years hasn't been any slower than yours, and that's because he constantly confronted mortal danger. Such immense pressure left him no choice but to advance. Without a doubt, even if his choice was dangerous, it was extremely proper. And even if your foundation has been laid firmly in these 5 years, your tempering in this aspect has still been insufficient. The kind of slaughter in Slaughter City will only increase your offense and murderous heart. It's not the kind of place that can constantly give you pressure. Therefore, I propose for you to go to a place that can give you such pressure. Tang San puzzled asked, just what place is it? Grandmaster pondered, then said, it might be called a spirit beast forest. However, that place is different from any spirit beast forest you know. Because, it's an island, where a lot of peculiar spirit beasts live. And also a lot of peculiar spirit masters. This place is something only very few people in the spirit master world know about. Island? Tang San focused on listening to Grandmaster's story. Grandmaster continued, I'll describe it simply, and you'll know just how dangerous it is. Spirit Hall once sent 2,000 spirit masters to this island, in an attempt to incorporate the spirit masters there. The result was still that most didn't return, less than 100 people could return alive. They also lost 2 title DouLuo there. Spirit Hall calls that place Devil Island, but I know its true name, it should be called Sea God Island. Okay, finish here, subscribes, likes and comments, discuss with others. Good rest guys.